cabron, quite bold and strong, for calling someone an asshole who does others wrong. It's best used with care, lest you make a mistake, for calling someone that can cause quite the quake. In feminine form, cabrona, you see, can label a bitch as mean as can be, but wield it with caution or face a storm, for these words pack a punch, not quite the norm. So if you must use them, make sure they fit, for cabron and cabrona don't easily quit. A linguistic spice, like hot pepper's heat. It's best served with humor, or not at all. Neat. Hee.
Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Cord Cutting TV, Bravo's Restaurant Bar, Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, Oculto, and Siam Cocina Time. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners. Here we are. Oh my God. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we connect with each other and with our city, Puerto Vallarta, by way of news that I gather every morning, every day from local, state, and national sources. I was going to say federal sources, but it's national sources. We also take a look at your comments, ideas, questions, suggestions, information that you bring to the table, and we combine all this information to hopefully connect better with each other and with the city. As you know, yesterday was canceled. I truly apologize for that. I will be happy to give you a blow-by-blow later on in the broadcast. But as you can see, I am still at Café Rio broadcasting because this is what I do for a living. I wish I could simply say I have no internet at home and I'm not going to go to work. But that's not something I have the luxury of doing, not to mention the fact that I need you as much as some of you rely on me to keep you connected. So it's a two-way street. And part of what went on at Telmex, when was it? Yesterday. Well, I'll get into that in a second. But I do want to say up front that every single note that I've gotten from you showing understanding, appreciation, and concern means the world to me. So thank you so very much for that. Let us get started with the news, and we will get into the Telmex fiasco in a little while. First, let's take a look at this. This is neither good nor bad. Interim Mayor Jose Martínez traveled to Veracruz to participate in the National Public Security Conference, for which he is Mexico's Western Region Coordinator. While all three levels of government, federal, state, and municipal, were present, he was only one of 5 mayors nationwide allowed to address the conference. And what was discussed at this conference, it is unclear, of course, given the fact that the presidential term is about to end. Many state government terms are about to end, and many municipal terms are also about to end. So I assume the conference was set in place to lay down the foundation for what is going to happen during the next administrations. This is important, and hopefully we'll get some more details about this. Of course, we continue to follow the news about Mayor-elect Luis Munguía trying to nudge the city into starting the transition process, which has to happen at the end of every administration. And now Munguía, accompanied by his transition team, has reported that they will establish legal responsibilities if they find any anomaly in the outgoing city council, for which they will legally justify everything within a framework of transparency and sensitivity in the exercise of the functions of public administration, which means, come on, let us get started with the numbers because they're going to be obscure and complicated, and we just want this to get done. We'll keep our fingers crossed, hoping that there's not a lot of irregularities, but we know how it goes, unfortunately. In other news, Mexico has taken a first step towards banning vapors and electronic cigarettes. On Tuesday, August 13, deputies approved preventing the sale of these devices, which pose a health risk. You may recall that President López Obrador proposed the initiative back in 2022, and it was approved with 21 votes in favor, 15 against, and 0 abstentions. So it's taken from 2 years. It's taken from back in 2022 that President López Obrador first introduced this bill, and now it's finally moving forward. Now, if you know somebody that vapes, or if you vape, well, here are some of the symptoms reported by vape users. They include difficulty of breathing that progresses over days to weeks, dry cough, chest pain when breathing or coughing, general clinical manifestations such as fatigue, muscle weakness, and fever, and in some cases, gastrointestinal problems such as vomiting and diarrhea occur before respiratory symptoms. So if that's not enough to discourage you from using vapors, I don't know what is. And last in our news block, while we've enjoyed the summer rains, our hurricane season has been pretty uneventful. That said, the National Weather Service announced 2 tropical formations that could evolve into hurricanes within the next 7 days. And as always, I'll keep an eye on these and keep you posted. Now, let's take a look at the weather, but let's take a quick look at this.
Step into the world of Aretha Franklin, the undisputed queen of soul. From her groundbreaking hit Respect to her historic performance at President Obama's inauguration, Aretha's voice transcended music, touching hearts and inspiring movements. Join us for a unique music appreciation presentation where we will explore 10 pivotal moments in her career that changed the course of music history. Discover how she became the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and how her gospel roots in the Amazing Grace album influenced generations. This isn't just a presentation, it's an opportunity to celebrate her legacy with fellow music lovers, all in the comfort of an air-conditioned environment. Don't miss your chance to relive unforgettable performances like her Grammy-winning rendition of Nessun Dorma in the company of those who share your passion for timeless music. Join us and be part of a soulful experience that promises to inspire, educate, and captivate. The meeting is on Thursday, August 22nd at 5 p.m. at the Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork. Tickets are 300 pesos per person, available at the hotel's reception desk. I hope to see you there, and I thank you in advance for sharing this information with other like-minded friends.
Snarky Weather says, I poisoned one item of food in your house. Well, I suppose that's lovely. Ooh, it is 30 degrees right now. Humidity is at 69%, and our weather forecast for today says that today we will enjoy mostly clear skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 54%, a high of 32, and a low of 24. Tomorrow, we'll have mostly cloudy skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a high of 32, a low of 25, and a chance of rain of 85%. And then Saturday, we'll have rain in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 80%, a high of 31, and a low of 24. Now, moving down the line of things that I want to share with you, let's dive into the Tequila Train. The Tequila Express is back. Don't worry, it doesn't bite. I'll tell you what it is in a second. Let me just set this up. There you go. So the Guadalajara Chamber of Commerce has just announced that the Tequila Express will be reinaugurated, resuming operation on September 14 with runs on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And of course, this is great news if you like tequila. And for those not familiar with the Tequila Express, it is a regional passenger train service that operates from Guadalajara, Jalisco, to the Sauce Tequila Distillery in the municipality of Tequila, some 40 kilometers northwest of Guadalajara. The train service is so named because it features tequila tastings and transports its passengers through blue agave fields to the distillery La Perseverancia in Tequila. Now, the service began operating in 1997, and the day trip includes live mariachi music, a tour of the distillery in Quinta Sausa, as well as a food buffet on the Quinta premises. Now, I'll leave you with a link in the show notes, and you will notice once you visit the website that they have tours going on prior to September, but these are probably handled by buses or vans, not the actual train. As an aside, well, the Tequila Train or the Tequila Express is something that I've always wanted to do. It's a little bit on the pricey side, but friends of mine that have done the Tequila Train excursion have enjoyed it immensely. I don't know how I feel about, it leaves Guadalajara early in the morning and it brings you back in the afternoon. And I don't know how I feel about early morning tequila tastings. I don't know if they happen really early morning, but if they happen on the train and you're going on the train in the morning, where else are they going to take place? So if you find yourselves in Guadalajara on a weekend and want to spend the day in Tequila, this is one way to do it. I also want to share a strange story that happened over the weekend or a few days ago here in Puerto Vallarta. I honestly don't know what to make of this one. It is a curious eye roller, that's for sure. So a homeless man with a bit of entrepreneurial initiative decided to stand on the lateral road at the entrance of Colonia Cinco de Diciembre to sell bamboo trunks. He's just trying to make a living. So some nice people quickly denounced the apparent fact that the homeless man had taken upon it himself to chop down some nearby bamboo trees that had been chopped down. So authorities came, they handcuffed the homeless man, they arrested him and sent him to jail, despite the fact that the police could not find any tools he might have used to chop them down in his possession. He had no machete, he had no chainsaw, no nothing. Still, no questions were asked. They simply took the poor homeless man and sent him to jail. But then it came to light that Adriana Guzman Jimenez, who oversees Puerto Vallarta's Department of Urban Development and the Environment, had actually authorized the chopping of the bamboo trees, which are located just next to a recently emptied lot for which the city has authorized the construction of yet another 10-story apartment tower, this one called Bahia Park, nice Spanish name. So I don't know if I feel more sorry for the homeless man who was simply trying to make a peso, or for the fact that yet another green area has been destroyed by the city in favor of more concrete. Before we get into the chit-chat section, of course, yesterday's spotlight was also canceled, but it has been rescheduled to this coming Wednesday. Hopefully, we will have everything under control. Actually, the spotlight always is broadcast now from here, from the Café Rio. And it so happens that yesterday was just, well, let's get into the Telmex woes if you want to hear them. If you don't want to hear them, I'm just going to be brief. On Monday, I went to Telmex after the broadcast, and they told me that somebody would go and visit me yesterday afternoon. No, Tuesday afternoon. So Tuesday afternoon, I waited patiently at home from 12 until the end of the day, and nobody showed. So yesterday morning, I was caught with the dilemma of, do I do my broadcast, or do I nip this Telmex situation in the bud, or hopefully expedite its resolution by going back to the office? So clearly, I chose to do the latter, and that's the reason why I canceled yesterday's broadcast. So I got to the office, and once again, they took down my information. And then the way it works is you stand on the counter, and the person that waits on you handwrites your number and your case number, and then he or she goes upstairs to talk to a supervisor. And I said to the lady, while you go up there, just save me some time and just ask the supervisor how many visits to this office will it take for you to get the work done. And she gave me a look, and she's like, huh? And I said, did you understand what I said? And she says, yes. And I say, okay. So she came back downstairs and she said, somebody will be at your home tomorrow, as in not today, but tomorrow. And I said, oh, that's nice. Now, can you tell me how many times will I have to come back in order for this to actually happen? And she said, oh, I told you they will go tomorrow. And I said, that's not what I asked you. I heard you correctly. But if you take into account that I've been going at this for 17 days with a half a dozen commitments that you haven't fulfilled, I just want to get a little bit ahead of the game. So if you can tell me how many times I will have to come back to the office, I can at least adjust myself to what I have to do. And she gave me a look, and she's like, you're going to be visited on Friday. And I said, does that mean I don't have to come back to this office? And she said, no. And I just told her, well, you must have miracle power, and I hope that you are right. And I thanked her, and I left. But the reality of it all, if I can just go there for a second, is that these situations where you are not heard by people that you think you should be heard from. I mean, I've been a client of Telmex for almost 2 decades. It's not fun. It's not fun when you have issues that you think you're entitled to be listened to and you are dismissed. And this is what happens when you go to the Telmex office. I don't feel any concern. I don't feel any empathy. And I don't know about you, but this is very draining on my well-being. That shouldn't be excuse for me to not show up and work and give you the news every morning. But the fact is that it's becoming extremely challenging and frustrating for this not to be resolved. All I can say to you is if you don't have a telephone service in place right now and are considering your options, just keep in mind what my experience has been. And last but not least, I can really appreciate, I still don't understand why some of you would choose to come to Mexico and relocate here without speaking Spanish. I'm not going to say that it's a good idea or a bad idea to retire in a foreign country where you don't speak the language that is spoken there by the vast majority of the people. That's on you, I suppose. But I can certainly appreciate and empathize with the way you might feel if you don't speak the language and you take into account that I, being fluent in my mother tongue, feel so frustrated and dismissed. I can only imagine what you go through when you have to go to the bank or Telmex or Telcel or the water company or the electrical company, or when you're trying to deal with a lawyer or any situation that requires you to speak Spanish. The only thing I can say, other than Duolingo your way through it, is just connect, make Mexican friends. It really makes a difference. Real estate agents, travel agencies, developers will all tell you that Puerto Vallarta is the friendliest city in the world, that Puerto Vallarta has a sizable English-speaking population, that you will feel right at home in Puerto Vallarta, Zona Romantica, and stuff like that. And that may be true, but sooner or later you have to deal with the law, with companies that are not obligated to wait on you or to provide services in English, and that is just the reality of the situation. I share that just for you to keep in mind. And last but not least, let's take a look at what's on your mind. I appreciate your good mornings so very much. And again, I've received lovely notes of appreciation and empathy from some of you that you've no idea how much they mean to me. Let's see what else. I have to agree with David. Yesterday we had a refreshing rainstorm and it was absolutely beautiful. JC asks, where's Luna? Luna is at home, spending a lot of time with me when I'm there. She's just awesome. Let's see what else. Oh, Kathy, a day without Paco is like, well, Sunday. That is a sweet thing to read. Thank you so very much, Kathy. Hope you had a good mini break. Well, actually I did, Deb. Thank you very much for asking. Anyone has to choices in these situations to just let negative thoughts and feelings take over your well-being, or to try to be productive. So yesterday I worked on a couple of video features, one to promote my Aretha presentation, as you noticed, and one to promote my music appreciation presentations in general. And today, after this broadcast, I'm going to go and walk around and take some video because, I just don't know what is going to happen with Telmex on Friday. I can tell you that if Telmex does not come on Friday, on Saturday, I will feature a pre-recorded broadcast because I'll be at their office first thing in the morning. So I want to make sure that you have stuff that you have things to look at and things to discover about Puerto Vallarta. Let's see. Oh, that is confusing. Happy Hump Day was yesterday, Dan, but for the record, I have no idea what day it is either. Gigi, it's always great to read you. I wonder how things are going in your musical and singing coaching world. I hope things are going well. Alan is counting 40 days to Mexico excursion. I love it. Ah, no show yesterday means I am a day off. Okay, I'll take the blame. Yeah. Good morning, Paco. You put a big smile on my face when I saw you smiling this morning at the start of the broadcast, even though I know you still don't have internet. I don't. Well, I kind of do. My next door neighbor, Dina, has been taking pity on me, and I borrow her internet for little tasks. I could not possibly broadcast from home because doing this takes a fair amount of bandwidth, and I would not put her out. I would not want to like hoard her internet for my benefit. That is not right. Let's see. I suppose there are different types of companies for road work and trash pickup. No, road work and trash pickup is handled by the government in our country. Let's see what else. That turned out to be a total bamboozle. I love it. And yes, it was, Chris, a total bamboozle. Is the Tequila Train a family-friendly event? Well, you know, your children will not be offered tequila, but of course you want to bring your children along. It's a fun excursion. As far as I know, it is a family-friendly event. But I'm sure that taking a look at their website, you may be able to look at the prices. And if they have specific prices for kids, then that will answer your question. If not, rest assured, I will provide their website in the show notes today for you to reach out directly to them and find out that information. I have to agree with you, Barbara. No shows are totally aggravating. I mean, the telephone company never factors the time you waste having this addressed. In my case, the kind of arrangements that I have to put into place to do my work. But I don't forget the fact that I'm very blessed in having this space, in having the great connection with Eric, the owner of the Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, and having the support you bring to me through your comments. I mean, that is just absolutely wonderful. Thank you for that. Boom. She didn't say espérate. You know, she was taken aback. These employees, for better or worse, are not used to being confronted in any way. And I made it a point to not be rude to her at any moment. At some point in the conversation, she interrupted me. And when she finished, I did say to her, "Do you realize you interrupted me?" And she says, "Yes, I'm sorry." And then I said, "Because when you interrupt me, what you're saying to me is that you're really not at all interested in what I have to say." Tómala. And she was not expecting that. I mean, I was not being rude. I was just stating a fact. But she was just not happy. Ni modo. Let's see. Agus 80 Leda. Agus 80 Leda is teaching a Spanish class in the Marina. Highly recommended taking her class. Zizi, thank you very much for that recommendation. Hopefully Agus 80 Leda will one day join us in the spotlight so she or he, I don't know if it's a boy or girl, so that this person can promote the Spanish classes directly with our viewership. Robert adds, Telmex is known for this. We switched everything to easy for reasonably good service and quality. Just know that Bell Canada can offer you the same bad experience at times. thank you for that, Robert. I am sure that this is happening in other places, and it is sad. It is just sad. Let's see what else. Ooh, many comments about learning Spanish. Well, yeah, again, by talking about learning Spanish, I don't mean to shade those of you that don't. You know, it's your choice to live here knowing our language or not. What I will say is that living in Mexico and not knowing Spanish is kind of going to the theater without your eyeglasses on. You will get the big picture, but you will miss out on all the lovely, wonderful details. And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast. As always, I thank you for your kindness. I thank you for your patience. And I thank you for being such an important part of this community. You give my work the reason to, and well, you know, I do what I do because you're here, and that's the basic fact. So thank you for being here. I'll be back here, and I mean tomorrow, literally here in this space, tomorrow morning, because they said that they will not arrive in my place until the afternoon. Start placing your bets and we'll see exactly what happens. Between now and then, stay kind, stay happy, stay cool, and stay in touch. I'll see you again soon.